Hello everyone, my name is Charlie, and this is the demo of a new game coming out today called NORLAND. The demo is out today, at least. It is an early build of this. It's a demo for it, but it's a full game experience. Just you can only go 25 days. I'm gonna hit new game. We're gonna explain how things work as we go, because if I stop to walk you through everything, we're gonna be sitting here without any gameplay for like 20 minutes. It's actually got quite a bit of depth to it. For family members, there's a lot of different starts you can choose from. Some of them are easier than others. For example, husband, wife, child. You start with two lords, your husband and wife, but you already have an heir. Think CK3. There's a lot of CK3 elements to this game, as well as RimWorld. Kind of take both of those and mix them together, and then put it in the past where it's like, you know, the era of kings and queens and stuff, right? And you kind of had this game. Don't worry, I'll explain that more in depth as we go. For the purposes of this little look at it, I'm going to choose something that might be a little bit more difficult, but could end up working in our favor. I'm going to choose two brothers. And the two brothers start could be a good start to the game for me. Yeah, so I'm going to choose a look here. Let's say, tell you what, I can customize this look as I go too, right? So let's start with something that's close to what I want. That's probably fine, actually. I clicked a bit times. This is close to what I want. All right, so let's have the hairstyle be changed to something like that. That's fine. I like the beard the way it is. I actually like the dude the way he is. Maybe the skin color could be a little more tan. There we go. All right, I'm gonna change this guy to Charles. This is the Lord Charles. We're making our lords right now. And the two brothers, I'm gonna use his alias because I think that is a good way to do it. And I'm gonna make something, give me a character that looks closer to him. You know what, let's do this. Let's do no beard at all, because he's basically a kid. He's not. He'd hate that if I said it. Let's give him, yeah, this darker hair look. This is him. All right, this is gonna be Glance, right? Just his alias. All right. So, character creation, really quick walkthrough, because it's very similar to RimWorld in that you have a variety of different skills. They can level up those skills. You also have a talent in that skills, something that you're really passionate about, and you're allowed up to 2 talents for your characters. If I had 3, then I would be allowed 3. But you can either stack them all on one person, or you can divide them between the two. So for example, if I took it away from Charles, I could put them both on Glance. That would be completely acceptable. If your character maxes out this skill, gets to level 15, they get a very powerful talent trait that can change the balance of the game for that character in that certain way they do things. So for example, if I have a trade passion, like a really passionate for trade, I could potentially get Forecaster. This will give me trade slang, and the character will be able to establish contact with the Holy Caravan and gather rumors from them about the upcoming prices in certain goods. In other words, I will know the prices of like what's going to go up and what's going to go down. I might hear that type of information as we play the game, and I can adjust what I buy accordingly. So if I know the price of coal is going to go up, I might buy a whole bunch of it, and then later on when the caravan comes back and the prices are higher, I could sell it to them. That's a pretty powerful advantage, and this is something that I wouldn't know unless I had a trade talent. And then it gets even more powerful if I level it up. So I can push this talent to like 7, let's say. Bring your teaching down here. Let's get your combat's kind of weak here. You can make trade be 6. I'm going to actually, you know what? I'm going to make him a manager, I think, instead. I think he would like that. Now you'll notice as I adjust this stuff, my age changes. So you don't want to just like max out your points. Because if you max out your points, you end up being a 40-year-old person. You might think that's no big deal, but back in this era, people didn't live that long. And on top of that, you have a dynasty to uphold. So especially for your king, which is your first character in the list, you don't want them to be super old, because you're not going to have a whole lot of time to generate an heir. So in this case, this is my little bro, so I want him to be younger than me. So we're going to go teaching down, combat down. Let's give him a management focus. I like this. And intellect is pretty good. A little higher persuasion, a little good on trade. It's probably fine. So we'd be a 24-year-old and a 20-year-old. I like it. Final things, character traits. You have a positive and negative. Everybody gets a positive and negative trait. You can choose from a variety of different things. I'm going to make myself beautiful because I really want to make sure I get an heir and I can attract the ladies if I'm more beautiful. There's also a negative trait, a lustful, not a great one to do unless you're okay with sinning, because you're going to want sex a lot. And, you know, unless they're a noble, that's a sin and you'll feel bad and everyone else will dislike you because of all your sinning. There's a lot of religious thing in this game. You'll see. So I'm going to choose Cynic here. Just makes my social thoughts weaker. So if I'm really in love with someone, now I'm only kind of in love with them, that kind of thing. I think that's a pretty basic, it's a very tame negative one in my opinion. And I'm going to have that forecaster trait on the king. So we'll be able to hopefully get those notifications and know what's going to be good and what's not. Having a really high trade skill is also going to allow me to get better prices when I do. Now my teaching is shit, so I'm not gonna be able to teach my kid anything. if I do have a kid, I'm not gonna be able to teach him anything. So why don't we up that teaching skill to like maybe a 4? I'll bring the trade down to 7. Now I'm 25. I think I'm all right with that. For Glance at 20, he is monogamous, falls in love once and for all. Nah, I'm all right with, you know what? You could be beautiful too. Let's just be 2 beautiful guys. I like that. And then nervous, he has more severe nervous breakdowns. I don't really care for that. I actually like gambling addict because it makes it for real fun, but he's almost always in a bad mood. You can gamble in the game, and if he wins, he's in a great mood. If he loses, he's in a really shitty mood. And if he doesn't bet for a long time, he gets in a bad mood. So you're going to be in a worse mood more often than you're in a good mood with this trait. So I really don't care for that as well. So why don't I make you have a higher tendency of addiction? I think that's fine. Now with management, you get the talent sharp-tongued. When the character is in charge of the chancellery, their ability to explain production tasks in an exceptionally precise and clear language helps maintain a production bonus in buildings where clerks are assigned. This is a more mid-game thing, but it's a really good one to have, so I'm going to do that too. All right, if you guys like this video and you like this game, please be sure to let me know in the comments. We can totally play more. Again, the demo is available for 25 days in-game, so we can keep playing the full game up to day 25, basically. Here's the map. There are 4 different cultures. Let's talk about the resources first. Each map tile has 4 basic resources that you're going to be able to see in that province. We've got wood, iron, I believe it's herbs, and then fertile land, or what you can grow, okay? That's in that order. So this one has a lot of wood. It's got 2 pips on herbs and fertile land, 1 pip on iron. If we go up to here, you can see how that changes. Over here, they can't grow anything in this area, which is I find really funny since they have farms literally in the display there. Then we have Silverhaven down here, which is what I'm going to go with. They're heavier on the iron, which I like. They're a little heavier on the wood, and they're also with this farmland. The problem with this, if you want conquest, if you're interested in war, is you're so far away. So you're going to have to build out your alliances to really just build yourself out that way. I'm not really interested in that. I just want to show you the game, and I think Silverhaven's a good fit. We could also choose Brightvale. It's kind of in the middle of it all. It doesn't get any iron, but it's really good on farming and lots of wood and lots of herbs. So, I'm going to change my mind. We're going to go Brightvale instead. So I'm going to do that because I want to kind of get into conflict with everybody here, okay? So 4 different cultures. There's Varns, Tanaya, Maka, and Kaden. And each one of them has their own sort of xenophobia towards another. Think of it like a Pokemon system, right? So we have Varns that really don't like Kaden, and Kaden doesn't like Varns. I guess that's not really like a Pokemon system, is it? Because it's equal. They just hate each other. It doesn't matter. It's politics. Here we go. So if you could think of it like different cultures not liking certain things. So Varns really don't like Kaden and vice versa. Maka really don't like Tanaya and vice versa. And then their feelings towards the other factions that are not that is kind of a more neutral thing. They're not really like pro or against you. There's some traits they like, some traits they don't. But Maka, if you're choosing this, it's a harder start for your culture, because Maka is the only culture that the Church of the Holy Sophia, they don't care for you as much. You kind of are breaking away from them. This is the more agnostic sort of culture when it comes to like the religion element of it. And so the church doesn't like you as much when you do this. That does make it harder for you. So keep that in mind if you want to try that. I'm going to leave it as Varns for now. That's fine. Every culture does have its advantages and knowledge. For example, Varns generally have more knowledge starting out with nature. Kaden is going to have generally more knowledge starting out with military stuff. So you're going to have more warfare, military, weapon, armor forges, etc. If you're into that, if you're into a military game, you probably want to choose Kaden. Tanaya is more bureaucracy and learning more religion. They're heavily religious here. And then you have Maka, which is exactly the opposite, which is why they don't like each other. And these guys are more into more of a secular education. They have workshops and alchemy and textbooks and potions and things like that. So if you're into all that stuff, great. I'm just going to choose Varns for the sake of this video, and if you want to keep playing, we can keep playing with anything you want. I probably will keep playing the same because I like the idea of having my brother in the game with me here. All right, I'm going to choose this as my pattern. I have no idea why, but I like the way it looks so far, so we're going to do that. And then the sign, I can make it this deer here. Yeah, this sounds fine. How very Stark family of me. All right, Bright Veil, here we go. Last parameter here. Oh, actually, I want to go back one more quick time. So we have Varns, we've chosen this, but we can also choose our neighbors around me as well. Okay, so at the moment, I don't have a whole lot of allies in Varns. I've got this, but I'm kind of surrounded by Caden. Might make things more challenging as you go. You can alter the cultures of your neighbors as well for your start. So if I want to have more friendly faces around me, I can do something like this. That'll be fine. This Tenaya area here is actually really heavy. So there's a really good chance that these guys have a really strong alliance as they go. I'm going to change this to Varns just to kind of try to offset that a little bit because I don't want them to be like super powered because that would probably happen there. These Caden are okay. It's likely that they'll take over Lakehold, and then I'll have like 4-on-4 here, which is probably pretty easy. In fact, I can probably try to... There's Varns up here too. Let's change this. It's reasonable that would be Caden, but we'll make this one like Macaw or something just to kind of throw it into the mix. All right, sounds good. I like this. Now we'll start with this. Final thing here is your scenario. You start with a scenario that has like a backstory. So in this case, a member of our noble family was captured by a group of bandits, and we want to go rescue them as fast as possible. Okay, that could be something that you're motivated to do. And if you can do that successfully and you can get them back, now you have another lord, right? Because you gain a bonus from that, which is pretty good. For this, I'm not going to worry about a scenario at the moment, but that is something you can do. There's By Touch, and there's also the Hammer's Way. I assume there's going to be other scenarios as the game launches. The last thing I'll talk about is the Crisis, other than the modifiers and difficulty settings, which I think are pretty self-explanatory in what they do. Alter the balance of the game. Crisis is this unholy horde that's going to sweep over the land shortly after the game starts, and they're going to just basically blow over everything in their path. If you can survive for 55 days, the horde will dissipate on its own, and it goes away, and the crisis is over. Since the demo is only 25 days, I don't really care about activating this, so we'll just go ahead and hit no crisis there. All right. So now that we're 12 minutes into this game, I went through this as quickly as I could without missing a whole lot of like primary things. But there's an okay tutorial in the game. I will say, though, that if you're playing in 4K, you're going to need to play with a small UI if you want to get through it, because the game currently, and my build anyway, if you have a bigger UI, which I currently do have it blown up, so there will be some buttons that will be hard to click for me. You're going to have a hard time clicking buttons. Hopefully they work that out for the demo, but in my version that I'm playing right now, that's kind of the way it is. Beginning of the story. In a nutshell, this says that the Crimson Empire perished at the flames of the religious war, and the people who prevailed from this was the Church of Holy Sophia, and they are now the all-powerful ruler of the land, and they're the army that nobody touches. They're the ones that live in the big stone castle. And so while the holy prophets speak of the impending end of the world, there's one small kingdom where there's a man with a dream of the birth of a new empire taking shape. That's me, of course. All right, so this is how everybody's going to start, and depending on your map type. Ooh, hey, I've never tried Bright Veil before, so there's a lot of water here. That is both good and bad. It means things are going to be spread out. Oh, man. All right, so we have a lot of fertile land right here. I like that. There's some fertile land over here. That's what this little area here marks, and I saw some right here, too. Yep. So that's the 3 patches of fertile land that we can grow on. We can't grow anywhere else other than there. And then there's probably some herbs. We had herbs on this map too, but no iron on this map. So we have to trade for all the iron we get. We're going to have to trade for it, which means we have to be really good at getting other things so we can trade really well. Luckily, somebody has a good trading skill. Yeah. Okay. Now, I said this game was kind of like RimWorld and CK3 kind of together. It's individually not as good as either one of those games when it comes to its depth and its gameplay experience, but it takes elements from both of those games and combines them into something that I think is pretty unique, in that this town, you have a bunch of peasants, but you're going to give commands to your peasants through your lords. The lords are the only ones you can control. It's not like RimWorld where you have everybody and you can control everybody. You also are not able to, unless you drafted them officially into an army, you're not able to tell them to do anything. Like, go over there and do this now. there's certain ways to do that for specific actions, but not everything. I'll explain later if it comes up. So at your start, you're going to have 3 lords' houses. Generally, in a lot of those starts, you'll have 3 lords, but in our case, there's only 2 brothers, so only 2 lords. We have a spare house. So we'll have a guest house if anyone decides to visit us. We also have a dormitory here. And in the first day, you're going to have migrants that are going to come in between like 1 and 8 or something. If I hover over top of how many people we have here, you can see that the expected number of migrants we're going to have today is 7. That means we're going to have 14 people. The dormitory only houses 10. So we're going to have 4 homeless people, and that's a very bad thing. You don't want that. I think they can go okay. It'll be okay to have them homeless for 1 night, but we don't want that to prolong any longer. Now, we also have kind of a little bit of randomness here in that your king will start with some knowledge. If I go to the knowledge tab, something will, oh my God, they assigned me mining. That is the worst possible thing it could have assigned me on this map. Okay. My luck is great. So it will randomly assign you something that you already know. You don't have to research it. In this case, mining. I could have gotten an iron mine right away, which would have been pretty cool. But we don't have any mining on this tile, so it's actually the only bit of knowledge that is completely worthless to me. Great. Off to a great start. I would probably re-roll this. If I was doing myself, I would probably re-roll this because your opening economic knowledge is actually pretty good to have. So what we want to learn first is rye field and mill. That's going to allow us to get our food production up and running. Later on, we can go to hot field and beer, but you can see there's a lot of knowledge here that's completely unavailable to us. There's a lot of stuff to learn here. We learn this in one of 2 ways. We either can read the books that have that knowledge, which will require us to have a library. So I am going to real quick go over to my service building. I'm going to pop up a library right here. It's one of the first buildings you should build. The first buildings you should build, though, are lumber mills or lumberjacks and stuff. You will never have enough wood in this game. Any amount of wood that you think you need, go ahead and add more. You're going to need more. There's no way you'll have enough wood in this game. At least not in the beginning. You are going to be building with it. You're going to be using it in so many ways. So I'm going to build, I think, 4 of them right now. Yeah, I'm going to build another one right here. So we're going to build 4 lumber mills here. And what we do is at the hall, we have 3 builders and 2 servants. Our Lord, Charles, is now giving instructions. That's what he's doing right now. He's giving instructions to his builders on what he wants them to do. We can determine what those are. He's just, generically telling them what to do. So I want them to start, I think, here. Build this first. Then you're going to build this one first. I want 2 lumber mills running right away because we're going to need so much wood, and I need to get a head start on that. Okay, so they're going to go off and do that now. Meanwhile, our lords are just going to, kick back, daydream, think about music. He's just daydreaming here. Yeah. Laying in his bed. Everybody has certain needs that keep them happy: sleep, food, rest, sex, and piety. And so everyone has a little bit of piety to them. We have the tendency for addiction here. It's great. Beautiful, which is good. This makes him characters increased interest in his character from other characters by 20. So girls are much more likely to be into him. Likewise for the king as well, because they give them both that. He is also classified as the heir, which is why he has the silver crown. So if the king dies, he becomes king. Okay, the lord of the land, if you will. I don't know if it really counts as a king, but you get it. And then the Varn's culture as well. You can read about them if you want to there too. I really like how they've implemented the tooltips and stuff from like CK3, where everything can kind of pop out with these keywords here. And if you hover over it for a little bit, it locks, and then you can do this, and then it locks again, and then you can do this, and it locks again, and it just keeps, you have a lot of flavor text that you can just go through and read, and you can just keep doing this forever, and you really get a fine-tuned look at different conversations and stuff, or different mechanics in the game. If you ever need any help, there's also a lot of information up here in the help menu about the economics and different characters and certain hints on what you might want to try and different mechanics, educating your citizens, etc. There's a lot of help documentation in the game too. Okay, so now that they've built this lumber mill, the lumberjacks who work here, there's only one. I have to upgrade it, and I'm going to go ahead and tell them to upgrade it because I want these 2 upgraded right away. But they're not going to do anything. This is where it kind of differs from the game a little bit, from other games a little bit. They don't do anything. They have to be told what to do. The Lord has to tell them what to do. So we're going to choose a manager for them. In this case, I'm going to choose Lance. He has a higher management skill at 7. And the higher the management skill, the production bonus goes up. So if I have Charles do it, it'll be 131%. There's not that much of a difference between their management skills. 131% here and 135% here. So I'm going to have Glance handle the lumber mill. And so he will stop whatever he's doing if it's convenient for him. Not always right away, but if it's convenient for him, he'll stop and what he's doing, and he will give instructions to these guys. And now they will go ahead and begin cutting down trees. All right. Now the builders should be on this next. So we'll see them bring a box full of supplies. The builders are set up ready to build. And then they will build this lumber mill as well. All work days will end at 1,800 hours. So that's getting close there. Go ahead and put Glance on this one as well. And then I want the builders to upgrade that too. You don't have to do it right away, but I want you to upgrade that. Now, once we get the migrants, we're going to need more housing. I don't want them to be homeless. But you'll see these little icons, like a person icon above of its head, like right here. That just simply means that there's not the maximum number of workers in this building. Because this is a level 2 building now, it can handle 2 workers. And I've assigned it to be 2 workers. If I assign it to be 1 worker, the logo goes away, everything's green, everything's fine. But if I want 2 workers in here, it will tell me that there's a job opening, basically. And this is good. You want to keep people working because they make money every day. Go to the finance tab. You can break down how much you want to pay your peasants for a day's labor. In this case, I'm paying them 5 gold per day. Warriors also get paid 5 gold, and the unemployed get paid nothing. If I have a lot of unemployed and they stay unemployed for a little bit of time, they're going to get desperate. I mean, think about it. They're not making any money, and they have to buy their food. In this case, they're going to buy flour. Flour, it can be taken to their house, and then they can use that to make bread. Okay? So they're going to make 5 gold per day. They're going to spend 4 of it on their food for that day. And so they're going to have 1 gold left over. And eventually they're going to want alcohol. That's their rest stat. So if you look at their character stats, you're going to see, or their needs, you're going to see rest. Rest is not sleep. So rest and sleep are different. Rest is your casual leisure time in which you basically drink alcohol. Okay. That's your rest. So everyone wants to drink alcohol, and the lords, of course, want higher quality stuff. And at the moment, all we're going to be able to provide is moonshine, even if that. We don't even have any beer at the moment. We don't have much for alcohol at the moment. So we're not going to be able to provide that very easily. If we take a look at the library being built, this is where we're gonna go ahead and start getting some knowledge. So the knowledge is in these books. I want to start learning about rye fields and mills right away. We have 2 options. We can either learn the book or we can rewrite the book. If we rewrite the book, we're going to acquire the knowledge similar to how we learn it. It takes longer to do this, but what we end up with is a copy of that book, and we can potentially even resell it. This one's not going to be worth very much, but if we have like a really good book, like one of these purple ones, they tend to be worth more. Green ones are like more rare, and then you can do it that way if you want to. Standard, rare, epic, whatever. I'm just thinking of other games where these colors are associated with it. But essentially, level 3 books, you could rewrite those. It takes a very long time, but they're worth like 300 gold when you sell them, which is pretty good. In this case, I just want to learn. So we're going to have Glance learn about the rye fields and mills because that's going to be our food supply. Can't believe it gave me mining. Now, how this works with knowledge is that you have a character that knows that. So you can do it. One lord knowing it means you can build it. But if that lord dies and no one else knows that tech, you lose the ability to build that thing now. Nobody knows how to do it. So you'll have to research it again. If you no longer have the book, you'll have to buy it again, right? So rewriting it allows you to sell that book and get rid of it, but still have your own copy, which is kind of nifty. So you can give that book back and have almost no cost, but you have to spend the time actually writing it again. Okay, so the migrants are coming. And as soon as they do that, there'll be spare workers, and they're going to get applied, or they're going to get to where they're going to work in a building now. So now we'll have that. Tonight, they're going to be homeless, and that's just the way it's going to be. I've queued up the upgrade for this lumber mill to make it level 2 so we can give them a job. And obviously this lumber mill and this lumber mill need to be built as well. To make things go faster with building, we can get warehouses. Warehouses serve two purposes. They are a source of builders. So the more warehouses you have, the more builders you'll have. I'm going to place this, I think, right. Where's those herbs at? This is farmland right here too. Ooh, it's right next to the lumber mill. I might have put that lumber mill too close. I might back it up. But I'm going to put this right here instead. Let's actually back this up. They didn't deliver any resources here yet anyway. So we'll go in and put lumber mill. I'm going to take this a step back a little bit, like right about here. It's nice because the warehouses are where people will bring the resources that they've gathered that day. They will bring them to the nearest warehouse. The hall counts as a warehouse. So this lumber mill brings it here, and same thing here. They'll bring it here. But the further away they are, the worse it's going to be for their productivity, right? So they're going to need to be close to warehouses. I think in this case, you're close enough, but I probably will want a warehouse right here anyway, because there's lots of farmland right here. And we're definitely going to want to farm where that goes. Now we have a visitor. First day, you're always going to get a visitor. And this is a trader who is Caden, but it's fine. He represents the Church of the Holy Sophia. Okay? He's there. And he has stuff to trade for us. I'm going to take my best trader over there to talk to him. And because his trade skill is 10, what a jerk, the prices are 15% in his favor right now. So that's great. We also have these holy rings. Now, holy rings, these are used for lords to display their status. So the more rings that a lord has, the happier he's going to be, in that he has a higher social status than those with less rings, okay? The only people that can mint coins and make rings is the church. So you can think of this like the more money you have, the higher social status you have, right? And the only people who can print the money is the government, right? That kind of thing. So that's kind of what holy rings are. I could buy a few, and since I have did I get a gambling? Did I do the gambling trait for my brother? I don't remember if I did that or not. I don't believe I did that. No, I don't think I did that for him. In any case, that would be something where I would want to gamble with him, and I would probably want to buy rings just in case I lose. The next tab over, in addition to all these resources that can be purchased, the next tab over is where the books are. Very important that you buy the books that you need right away. So we have the standard books down here, which are going to cost, usually they cost, I think, 95 gold each, but now they're 103. Thanks for sending the level 10 trader right away. Thanks, game. So we're going to go scaffold, workshop, herbalist, keeping prisoners, temple, and coal furnace. I'm going to choose temple, keeping prisoners, and the herbalist. I'm going to get those 3 books. That's going to set me up for the basics of what I'm hoping to get going with pretty soon. But we also have braised rutabaga, which gives us a little bit better. Also prevents death from rutabaga typhoid. It's a disease that it can happen. We also have flavorful ale, which is everyone's favorite drink. And if you can make this, you can have everybody happy. It's also harder to make. Then we have level 3 books that are longevity, which allows our special diet to have our aging begin 10 days later. And then finally, mace stun, which is a pretty good skill to have if you're going to be wielding maces. I have 3 maces in my inventory, so that's pretty good. We can go ahead and grab that book too. That's going to cost me 613 gold unless I want to give him something in return. And I kind of don't. I think I'm just going to spend the gold on those books for now. The final tab is the prisoners. Those are the people who he came with. All these guys in white here that have a little grungy clothing. They're all prisoners. And you can have these guys kind of serve somewhat like slave labor in that you can keep prisoners. And if they are good workers and stuff, you don't have to pay them gold. You simply provide them with food every day, and so it'll eat into your food supply, but it won't eat into your gold supply. And in a way, it's like free labor in that way. They may choose to run away. They may choose to rebel and retaliate. So you want to treat them well because they're already oppressed. You can also free them if you're into like the I want to free the slaves kind of story. If that's where you're going, you can buy slaves and then free them if you want to as well. They may choose to leave your settlement when you free them, though. So I would make sure that the slave that you're looking to free is someone who is in a culture that's good for you. So like if we're Varns, we would want to go after the Varn slaves because if you free the Caden slaves, there's a good chance they're going to run away anyway once you free them. You'll also notice that some of them are pricier than others, and that has to do with their age. So if they are really young, or they have other skills. For example, like this guy's got a really good combat skill in addition to being really fertile. This is a woman, whoops, 15 years old. She's very young. She's very fertile, and she has really good combat skills. So she gets to be she's really expensive. And you tend to find combat skills in many different slaves and stuff. Many different prisoners have combat skills and stuff too. This person here is really old, 43. So base price is 50, and there's no, yeah. Okay, so I think this is probably a pretty good trade for now. I'm not going to get into the prisoners just yet. So go ahead and buy that. I'll spend 617 or 613, whatever it was, of my gold on those books, which gives me, I have 1392 remaining. And of course, every day, my people are getting paid, and then they're going to go and buy stuff. So we really only lose about 1 gold per day. Right now, anyway, we're only going to lose about 1 gold per day per peasant, because they're going to take 5 and they're going to give 4 back to us for the flour, right? And as long as we don't have to buy flour, that's okay. If we have to buy flour because we're out of it and they don't have any food, then it becomes a really huge drain, because flour, trying to buy it, is going to be very expensive. So even with the skill here of buying flour right now is 10 gold each. So not only are we going to have to pay 10, but now our peasants are only going to give us back 4 when they buy it from us. So that's a really bad trade, of course. Okay, so I've shown you this part of the map and stuff, and there's a lot more to it. There's so many things to look at. You have barracks to get your own soldiers. We have to build an altar so people have a place to pray. That's probably something I should do right away, actually. Let's give you an altar. I'll put the altar... they're going to want to pray a lot. I'm going to put this over here by the water, I think. Let's do that. And then I want to also go in and make sure I add another dormitory for the builders tomorrow, and I'll go ahead and have them build that first thing because I don't want people to be homeless more than one day. Okay, so everybody's going to go back to their dormitories now, unless they don't have a house, in which case then they're going to be homeless, and that's going to suck. So their mood is going to drop a lot, -14. If they are really, really mad, then they'll leave. And then I end up having people desert, and obviously that's not good for labor and growing my civilization, so I don't want to do that too. Bottom right corner, you can see the progress that we've made on researching that. I can also have the king do some of that too. Now that we've bought those books, we can go in and do some other things. I think the herbalist is probably a good way to go about. The first thing, we have a lot of fertility and stuff, and I can start getting better beer and stuff made. So I think I'm going to go down the herbalist route. But before we do that, I probably should get the brewery set up as well, right? Can I make the brewery without that skill? I can right here. Yep. Let's get the brewery in right here. And that will make the moonshine. All right. But if we want to make better moonshine, or we want to make better alcohol, then we have to go down hop fields and beer. Yeah. So I think actually we'll learn this first. So let's have Charles learn that. And he'll only do this on his spare time, right? This is something he'll do when he has nothing else to do. He'll go in and learn. But he also has other things he can do, like trying to find a mate. Yeah. So let's take a look at the world. Okay. World map is here. All the other nations are out doing their own thing. And some of them have calls out. Like these guys here, Moon Realm he's got something above here. He thinks that Bogomil from Great Mist is becoming stronger and plans to annex Moon Realm to his kingdom soon. So Bogomil from Great Mist. Great Mist is... I'm going to assume that's over here. I can't see that, but I'm going to assume it's over here. I don't know where Great Mist is. But he thinks he's about to be annexed. And he's calling for help. Now, I don't know why I would help a Cadence. I'm not going to. But I could, if I wanted to, send, an army that way. Since I don't have an army, there's nothing I can do. And if he gets annexed, he gets annexed. Now, this is where the Church of the Holy Sophia, the Church of Holy Sophia lives. And if you make them happy, the game gets a little easier. If you make them mad, the game gets a lot harder. They'll usually stay out of your way if you stay out of their way, though. It's not like they're, demanding everything from you all the time or anything. But you do want to get a place for everybody to pray up fairly quickly, because all your peasants are going to start getting a reduction in their mood. Not yet, but this piety need really needs to be satisfied, because it can really put people in a bad way if you don't satisfy that. Okay, Charles pretended not to hear Glance. I am ignoring him. I was like, yeah, oh, you said something? No, I didn't hear that. So his loyalty is dropping, right? Loyalty to the king is 48. He starts out at 50, I think. And because he's the heir, he's also has some motivations as well there, but he's feeling neglected. You know, the king is neglecting me. My brother's neglecting me. Now, I can choose to spend time with him if I want to. So I can go in and, you know, I want them to read right now. But if I want them to get along better, I could say, hey, why don't we go ahead and maybe spend some time together? And that will cause us to just kind of like, you know, we'll have a good laugh. We'll walk around. We'll talk about things, you know, get to know each other a little better. Hey, what's going on? Any thoughts about the future of our kingdom here, et cetera, et cetera. And that will just generally make us closer to each other, or it could make us further, you know, it could drive us further apart too. If we have a bad joke, or we, you know, maybe we get drunk together and we end up fighting. I don't know. It could happen. Let's go ahead and get Glance on that. And we'll have you get some more lumberjacks going here. Now, we need more wood all the time, man. So let's get the builders on this as well if we can. There we go. And then I'm going to want to start farming here pretty soon, as soon as the rye field thing is done. So I think what I'm going to do also is get a warehouse put in right here. It's a little bit it's close enough, I think. Like for farms and stuff, it should be close enough and not need a warehouse. It should be able to bring it right here, but I feel like I want more builders too. But the mills should go here, though. Yeah, I'm going to leave it that way. I think the mills should go there instead. All right, so I'm going to have Charles manage this one, I think. These are just the warehouse. We don't really get a whole lot of benefits from that. So Charles will manage this one. And this is, again, where the builders are. And now everyone has a job. Good. You can see that there are 0 unemployed. It's fantastic. So now everyone gets to have good stuff. But it also means we have a labor shortage now, too. If we add more buildings, we're going to have a labor shortage, and we're going to need more people. So hopefully we make people happy, and we can get people migrating. Now, at the moment, we're going to have 5 more migrants today. That's going to put us up to 18 total people, so I have enough housing for them, but I'm going to want to look at probably building more housing. Why don't we get the altar? Is there enough time? No, they only 5 days. There's only 5 minutes left in their work schedule, so that's not going to work. There we go. 5 migrants just came in, and we can tell them to upgrade. Let's have the 4 lumber mills are done. So now we're just going to work on upgrading them. We can also move them later. It only costs us 5 wood to do that, and it happens instantly. I want to get the herbs, which is way over here. I need to get the herbs going too. And that's something where you definitely want to have, you know, housing in the area so that they can get over there. Oh, I need a manager. Whoops. Glance can handle the wood. All the wood will be managed by Glance. All the other stuff I can handle with the king. Okay, so you see these guys playing dice? Maybe you can't see them. I can hear them. Somebody's playing dice. We're practicing dice. Dice is a great way to gamble. Okay? And what I could do with Glance, for example, the lords, they gamble their holy rings. The Glance has 10. Charles has 20. So if I was to play dice with Glance and win, which he has a higher intellect than I do, so he probably... Charles has a 4 intellect. Pretty sure Glance is the one with a higher 9. Yeah, he is significantly more likely to win in dice. And it's probably a good thing that Glance goes and plays dice with other lords. So if we ever get visited by another lord, which I think happens around day 3, you'll get another lord that'll come in and visit you. If that happens, we definitely want Glance to be playing dice because it gets us access to more holy rings if he wins. Of course, it'll also give him the holy rings, which if he gets more than the king does, that's, you know, he's going to have a higher social status. That might be grounds for maybe he's going to take over. You know, who knows? Might get a big head on his shoulders. I don't know. We'll see. Moon Realm, consequences of war. As a result of the war in the neighboring province of Moon Realm, migration from there has increased. The refugees belonging to the Caden culture. The Holy Caravan will send iron traded by the province at 2 times the price. Oh boy, for several days. So Iron is going to be worth 2 times the price for 5 days. That's interesting. Oh, but that's only for that province, though. So when the Holy Church brings people in here to trade, the iron is going to cost twice as much. So I think they're just not happy. Their opinion of me is bad because I have a hateful culture, apparently. Okay, if you say so. Now, I can go make friends with other places, too, if I want to. So, like Treewood, for example. I don't want to do this yet because I have buildings I want to build up right now and manage them, and I only have 2 lords. If I had 3, I would totally do this, but I only have 2 lords, so I got to make sure I stay on top of it. But I could, for example, take a look at the lords of Treewood. There is obviously their king here, 45 years old. He's got a pretty okay army, I suppose. He's got 525 gold. He has his wife, Marja, the queen. And then we also have Sililib, which is the heir, and his firstborn son, the heir. And then there is also this child here, which is under 13, so we can't see anything about them until they're older than 13. If I wanted to, I could say, for example, hey, I want to send a guest to Treewood, and we could send Glance or Charles out that way, and just to make introductions, meet people, whatever, socialize, maybe improve our standing, maybe decrease our standing with them, depending on how that goes. We could offer to trade. We could sell rye, for example, or buy swords. We don't have a good enough relationship. Nobody will trade with you unless they have a decent relationship with you and they can trust you. There's also political things we could do from them, including demanding vassalage or making an offering to that king to really improve our standing with them, and all based on our persuasion skill and such. The envoy's visit. There's a lot of options that you can do to specific lords. If I wanted to spend specific time with the heir to this throne, maybe since he's 19, maybe I want to get him on my good side. So when his dad dies at 45 years old, right? When his dad dies and he takes over the throne, I want to have a good friend over there, right? So maybe I want to spend time with him. And if I did that, I could maybe take him go hunting. Maybe we go hunting together with him. And that would be one way for me to make a better relationship with this guy. So why don't we try that? I'm going to say I want to go hunting and invite him out to hunt. And we're the same culture, so we should get along pretty well. And because he is the heir to Treewood and his father is so old, it makes sense to make friends with him because in a very short time, he is going to take over control. And when that happens, I'll have a friend. Right, so we'll try that out. So Charles is going to leave. Bye. Which means that we need, every new building that comes in here, Glance is going to have to manage it. So Glance is like the lord of the land now because he's gone. The king is away, so Glance has got control. Hopefully it doesn't burn the place down. So on the right side of the screen, something's popped up called the Protection of the Loving Family. For the harmony of the world of Norland, and as a grace of Saint Sophia to all that is new and renewing, the Loving Family prohibits aggression towards the young noble houses. This means that neighboring provinces will not engage in blackmail, warfare, or intrigue against me while I'm in the protection, while this protection is in their place. Usually, the Loving Family removes the protection when the settlement reaches 50 characters, including warriors, lords, peasants, and prisoners. However, the protection will also be lifted if we take aggressive actions against somebody else. So while we have less than 50 characters, nobody's going to mess with us. It's like a grace period in the beginning of the game, so you don't have to worry about warfare and people taking over things. But once you reach 50, you have progressed far enough in the game to where it's time to, defend yourself and make sure you're protected, protecting yourself. And in addition to that, if we take any aggressive action, well, then they're like, well, if you're going to start it, then we're going to let other people mess with you. All right, so Charles just arrived in Treewood, and I actually wish I would have shown this, but I was too busy reading that. Your character actually does move across the map, and since this is really close, we are able to get there in short time. But we will now be able to see, he's got moderate fatigue. That can happen, but the better mood he's in when he arrives, the better things are going to work. And I think 56 is a pretty good mood to be in. It's okay. It's not the greatest, but it's fine. And I've got pretty not great manners. Manners works really well as sort of like a match game system with this game is what it looks like. So If one person has really bad manners and I have really bad manners, then we'll probably get along. But if like one person has really bad manners and the other one has really good manners, we're probably not going to get along. So essentially, you can get along with people who have manners that are similar to you. So in this case, I'm looking at this guy, and his manners are also 3. So we're going to be great here. And hold on, we just got something that just popped up. Request for assistance. Hang on, we got a couple of things here. So Moon Realm wants assistance. Yeah, they're being attacked. We know this. I thought that was going to happen. Hey, you chose to be Caden, all right? I mean, you guys are all about warfare and shit. Now, there is also a neutralization order on the map here. And Anna is in a difficult relationship with his neighbors from Great Mist. He's planning to start a war soon, and it will be a great benefit to him if one of the key lords, Krabra, from Great Mist disappears. If I'm doing this for him, if I take that assassination, they'll give me 900 gold. That's pretty good. If I have someone that can do that, that's pretty good. I could maybe even hire assassins. It's a little early in the game to find them on the map, but sometimes you'll get assassins on the map. And you can hire them, and sometimes they'll take like 500 gold to go do something for you. So you can hire them to do something for you for 500. And if they're successful, they may not succeed. But if they are successful, then great. And you could then get 900 for it. I assume that's how that works. I haven't done that before. But there's also a couple of things on the map here now, too, that are these rings. So someone in the camp is selling 10 rings, which they clearly stole from Bogomil. And so we can either take them for ourselves, and they're trying to sell them for 175, which is half the price the Holy Caravan will sell them for. Because the Holy Caravan wants for like 31, 32 per ring. These guys are selling them for like 17 and a half per ring. So that's pretty good. But if we buy them, our actions will not go unnoticed by the former ring owner and our neighbors. So Bogomil, who are you, Bogomil? Bogomil is the king of Great Mist. So that's it. That's what he said. Is this? He's talking about Great Mist over here. Yeah. So I want to help. I want to help Great Mist because they're, you know. Yeah. We want to help Great Mist. So I think because this king has lost his rings, we could go over there and try to take them back, and we can buy them. But that's again, it's going to be a bad image for him. He's not going to like that. Or we can try to, free them up. So there are bandits in this camp. There are 5 of them. There's 125 gold worth of stuff in there, and including some other stuff like the rings and everything. Now, we don't exactly know what these bandits are equipped with. They could just be there with like some really basic, daggers and no armor, or they could be like fully kitted out with horses and shit. We have no idea what they are until we get there. So there is that. Over here, we also have the same thing happening. Some more stolen rings, and it's basically the exact same situation. So there's lots of things on the map that you can interact with, and like these little sites right here are interesting. Now, in our own area, we have a couple of different neighborhoods. There's usually like 2 or 3 cities per region. So this one here, these guys pay tribute to us, okay? And our tribute that they pay every so often, every few days, they're going to give 15 iron to us. So they have the iron. We don't have iron mines of our own. They do. That's great. They'll pay tribute to us as long as nobody takes it from them, right? So people can come in and take this from us. They have 10 defenders of their own, but we may have to defend our territory later too. So that's how you can kind of gain territory as well. You can take these little towns away from your neighbors. These guys here will give us 12. What is the symbol? I thought it was herbs. Yeah. Okay, so these guys will give us 12 herbs, and these guys will give us 15 iron in one more day. All right, so I think I've shown quite a bit of the game so far. And now we're going to get King's Ambitions. The king decides that it is time to announce the ambitions that will determine the future of your noble family. You can kind of choose like what your goal is, right? You have 4 different options. We can go for Conqueror. We need to add 3 vassals to our kingdom. We can go for Unifier. By only helping each other can we stand strong, expand our alliance of 3 cities to 3 provinces. We can be Fertile, which we're going to try to increase our population to 59 people. Or we can go Economic, in which we want to achieve a daily production of goods worth 1,600 gold. So it's kind of like how you want to play the game. Do you want to aggressively take over? Do you want to stand together and form alliances? Do you want to just grow and have a really thriving population of people and a diverse culture? Because there's not that many people. So you're going to have a diverse culture if you're going for a lot of people, and try to manage that But ultimately, with more people, you'll also have more production typically too. So, or economic, and try to, daily production. I don't really think it matters, but we'll go for fertile. That's fine. We're going to try to get a lot of people. That's fine. I like it because that also kind of coincides with having more production as well. But if we have a lot of people, we're going to need a lot of food. We're going to need to manage this and have a lot of food. So Glance, you're going to make sure that you are... Glance is over there giving instructions to the lumberjacks, but he is going to have to come over here and give instructions to the brewery as well, because they are responsible for making the moonshine that everybody's going to be not wanting to drink, but that's what they're going to have to drink. Okay, let me just take a look at the map really quick. Now, we're going to be spending some time hunting for a while. That's Barley Lub. There it is. What's your army like over there? Okay, so you need some help. Right? I mean, I don't have any army. Now, going on army, we could create an army, which right now wouldn't really work. Because if you want to choose an army, if you want to create warriors, you have to choose from peasants that are already in a bad mood. If they like what they're doing, they're not going to be motivated to go out, and they're not going to be desperate enough to become a soldier for you, right? But if somebody's really annoyed and there hasn't been any jobs and they just can't find food and it's like, oh my gosh, like life sucks, well, then join the army, because we pay you 5 gold a day to just sit there and be on our army, right? Obviously, you have to go to war and it's dangerous, but it's a way to make money. And maybe even I can pay my warriors more if we're doing really cool things. I can pay them higher wages, make my warriors really happy, and they'll continue wanting to be warriors for me. Or I can hire mercenaries. Mercenaries cost a lot more money, but they're also more effective. So you can have warriors that have really high combat stats, for example, and they'll usually come equipped with things. So they'll have their own armor. They'll have, maybe this guy here has his own armor, his own axe, his own helmets, all sorts of stuff there, right? Maybe this guy here, maybe he's just got his own weapon, but there's no armor on this guy. So he costs a little less. So there's things like that to look at too. And as you progress through the game, not here because I don't have any iron, but I can always buy the iron. You can make your own, forge your own weapons and all sorts of things like that. Charles has successfully completed the assigned task hunting in the city of Treewood and is ready for new assignments. You know what? I'm going to make really good friends with Treewood. Let me see what Silylub here. So he has a good opinion of me. Yeah, you could say we're friends. And that's good. I want to be friends with this guy. It's great. So why don't we, since you can see he has heavy armor and things like this too, we just completed the hunt together. So like doing something else with him is probably not going to happen for a while. I wouldn't think anyway. Oh, it looks like it's going to give me the option to do it again. Really? Yeah, it does. Looks like it's going to give me the option to do it again. Huh. I thought there was a waiting period on that. Well, either way, I kind of want to... I can invite to my place. Yeah. Does not treat you well enough yet. Oh, I can't invite him. The relationship between your king is plus 13, but it should be at least plus 25. I thought it was higher than that. Plus 13? What do you mean? It's 34. Oh, I think it's between the kings. Yeah. The king. Yeah, my relationship with the king has to be higher. So because I've spent some time with his kid and that went well, he has a slightly higher opinion of me, but not high enough to where I can invite him over. So apparently that's a command where I can only invite the king to my place. All right, that's fair. So you can see me on the map. I am on my way back to my own province now. And yes, you can take an army across the map and intercept somebody moving. You absolutely can do that if you're wondering. Like, is he at risk while he's traveling? Yeah, if I was not under the protection of the church right now, then yeah, I would be at risk for sure. Especially if I'm moving through a territory that's neutral or like not friendly territory, then absolutely possible. And so as they cut down all these trees, they're opening up building areas for me as well, which is great because I'm going to need more housing. So let's put in another dormitory, and I'm going to set it to be, let's put it over here next to the brewery. We'll kind of do it about like this. And we'll have it face to the side like that. Now the builders have something to do, so they're going to go out and do it. And if we get any more migrants, which should happen 5 more today, they will now have a place to live. Isn't that great? You know what? I should probably also build so people can have some fun in their life. Yes, a tavern. Tavern should definitely be built. Right there, this is where everybody's going to go to hang out after work. And I'm going to say it's 1700. There's not enough time to complete this. Don't build this first. No. Keep building this. Keep building this. I don't want them to stop building. I mean, we have multiple sets of builders, so maybe they'll get this done first. That would be close. I don't think they're going to get it done in time. They will not finish this if it goes to 1800 first. Yeah, they didn't even finish the dorm. So people are going to be... I do wish there was some kind of command that would allow me to say, hey, work an extra hour and have a slight mood decrease, but at least they'll work that extra hour. And that way I could have finished this building and finished the tavern, and then everyone would be happier anyway because they have the tavern. That's not something that's in the game yet currently, as far as I can tell. So I do wish there was some command that would let me extend their workday. So we have the brewery, and now I can choose my production. And I can say that I want like a certain amount of moonshine made. So let's say we produce moonshine until we have 15. Once we have 15 in stock, we have more people than this though, don't we? I don't think we're going to have 15 people buying moonshine every day though. The entire population is not going to be buying that every day. Maybe in the beginning they'll try, but they won't do it every day. They won't be able to afford to do it every day. But the moonshine is great because they will buy it, and that means more money for me. So I pay them $5 every day, or 5 gold every day. They're going to spend 4 every day, and then if they have enough, they'll buy alcohol. And so that ends up allowing them every once in a while, they will pay me back more money than I've paid them that day. So our money can go up that way. Okay, so it looks to me like knowledge has been achieved. We now have access to the rye mill, the rye field and the mill, which is great. And now I'm going to have the king go ahead and learn. Let's have Glance learn about. Glance can learn about keeping prisoners, because I'm going to want more labor without having to have. Yeah, here we go. So this is another lord. So I don't know how to say his name. This is another lord here, and we could, have a wise conversation with him if we have a good intellect level and stuff like that. And that wise conversation could lead to us learning information, which would be great. But we have to have a high enough opinion. They have to have a high enough opinion of us. So we can hire this lord, and he will take a certain amount of rings from us after 10 days. So if I wanted to hire him, for example, it would cost 6 because of our skills, or it could cost 7. So I'd want Glance to ask him, because all about the persuasion skill. 6 rings at the end of 10 days. 50% discount for the first hire is what it says. And then we'd have another lord to help manage our stuff, and then we could get to know him better, and maybe even give him a title in our lands, and then we'll have another lord. But you can do that if you meet a lord that you like, or you have a woman or something that gets brought in, you make a wife. Now that person's a lord too, right? Okay, so I want to go ahead and see what this guy's trade level is. Let's go ahead and trade with this guy. Hopefully he's got a lower trade level. Still level 10, eh? The same guy. It's a lot of times it's a different guy. Scaffold is okay, but I'm not really at risk of people like uprising against me right now. Correct cutting is great because you just simply get twice as much wood on all the trees you cut down. So it's just a flat upgrade, doubling your wood, and you gotta have that. So I am gonna get that. Hop field efficiency seems pretty good too. We could get that, but we're not really growing hops yet, so I kind of want to start growing first. Let's go ahead and trade, and we'll get that. Now we have 7 unemployed, so let's talk about food. We just not the ability to get our rye fields and stuff. So now we're gonna have this area over here, and I'm gonna have, I think, okay, I've never seen over 100% fertility before. That said 101%. I've never seen over 100% before. It's crazy good. We'll go 100 here, and we're gonna do 100 here, and we're not gonna get 100 from that spot, but about there. 86, 96 is close enough, I think. We're not gonna use the rest of that location anyway, so I guess we'll put it up a little bit more. Yeah, so about 96 there too. So 3 rye fields, and then in addition to that, we're going to want the mills. And I'm telling you, I don't know if the balance is going to change. I hope they do, but the mills are slow. They're so slow at making food. So I'm going to have 2 mills, and then I'm going to upgrade them as much as I can because, like I said, they're just too slow at making flour to satisfy like a growing population. So we're going to do that. All right, I don't think I'm going to engage anything else here. Looks like these guys are having a friendly talk. That's pretty good, but I'm going to let this run throughout the night, and I'll see you guys in the morning after we've got this stuff built. Okay, so I got the builders out, and we now have our 3rd dormitory, as well as our tavern up and running. So tonight, they're going to get a lot happier than they have been, and they can go ahead and drink at the tavern, which is going to be great. We have 6 labor. We have 6 unemployed at the moment. They're going to start working on these fields. That's how we're going to get those jobs done. So I want, see, if I have Glance manage too many things, it's going to get overwhelming for him. I'm going to need another lord pretty soon here. So I want to find a wife. I need to find a wife. Yes, I do. Taking a look over at like other places, and we do have a couple of children over here. It looks like they do have a daughter. So I could go for the Dragonhorn daughter, but she has to be at least 13 before I can pursue her. Yep, that's the time period. That's how it works. At least 13 years old, and then you are fair game for a 40-year-old dude. Welcome to the Middle Ages. All right. Medieval times, man. All right, I'm going to have Charles manage this field as well. So Charles will manage both of these fields. Did he give commands? He didn't give commands. What's he doing? He's going... Okay, now what I can do, he has something he wants to do instead. That happens. He's eating because he's a little hungry. That's fine. I can tell him, hey, go do this. So clicking this button right here tells him to go do his inspections instead. There are certain things I can enforce and tell him to do. There's one note here that is very important to note here, is that you're commanding your lords to do things as well. And if Glance doesn't like me, if he's in a bad mood towards me, he can flat out refuse to do his task. So your king is a more prominent person than the lords. Even though you have control over both of them, your king is issuing to the lords, and lords are then issuing to peasants. And just because your king counts as a lord in that mechanic doesn't mean he's actually the same. So the king will always do what you tell him because he's never going to be in a bad mood against himself. But if Glance hates me, or he's in just a bad mood towards me, he can flat out tell me no. He will just do that sometimes. So this gives me 2 rye fields, and we can start getting all the necessary ingredients that we need to get our mills up and running. But now what we're missing in the mill are workers, which is okay. So I'm going to have this guys. I'm going to go ahead and have my builders upgrade these in the meantime. So it's going to take me 5 iron and 15 wood to upgrade them. We just got a tribute, right? And that tribute is the iron. So again, that's really good. We definitely want to keep these guys happy. That kingdom or that town, village, whatever. We definitely want to keep them happy on our good side and also protected because their tribute is iron. It's kind of massive for me, honestly. 5 migrants arrived today. Excellent. That's going to give us the labor we need for the mills. Of course, they didn't finish the mills, so they'll be finishing that tomorrow. So they come over here, they get their payments. It drains my money a little bit. Then they're going to come over to the market. They're going to start spending that money, puts the money back in my pocket. And then they're going to come over here and have a drink. Yeah, finally, they can have some alcohol. Isn't that great? Not only that, we just learned hop field and beer. So we're definitely going to want to get good tasting alcohol as well. So we can now do the hop field. And hops are grown. I can kind of grow them anywhere. I'm going to grow them down here. 94, 91, 94. I think 94 is fine. So these fields are very expensive. It takes 80 wood to build these. But again, we get the hops, and then we can, it'll go right to the warehouse, right? That's pretty good. I think I might actually pull back on the number of builders here. We'll go down to 2, and we'll go down to 2 on, is that the only warehouse right now? I think that's the only warehouse right now. You know, we should probably, I think we will. We're going to go ahead and have another warehouse put in right over here, I think, on this side. That way, when I move the lumberjack up, it will have a warehouse really close by. I like that idea, actually. These ones are already felled. I'm wondering if I lose the resources by putting it here. Doesn't look like I do. I would lose the resource. I would lose the tree entirely if I put that there. But it doesn't look like I lose it if I put it on top of felled tree, so that's good. All right, cool. So we've learned the knowledge. I got to find a way to make friends here. See, they have a good opinion of me. No prisoners. Oh, Varns. So Varns don't like prisoners, really? Is that a thing? I didn't know that was a thing. So now I don't want to be Varns. All right. I mean, look, this is a game that takes a while to get there. There's a lot of gameplay to this. This demo is a really long demo, and it's a good demo. I think it's a good one. If you guys like this, let me know in the comments. We can continue our little playthrough. But I have exhausted the amount of time I can spend on this video. It is probably over an hour long by now. It's a lot of stuff going on in this game. But this is NORLAND. It's a demo. You can find it linked in the description to learn more. And there's a lot of replay value to this too. Even in the demo, there's a lot of replay value. You can choose a different culture, choose a different strategy, choose a different start, new goals. all sorts of things. It's crazy. So yeah, if there is a next one, I'll take a look at the comments and the interaction and engagement and stuff on this video and to see. But if there is a next one, we're gonna be searching for a wife for sure. We're gonna need to do that pretty soon here. It's not urgent. We're not old, but it would be nice to have another. It'd be very nice to have another lord to help manage things. We're gonna have up to 120 flour, and then the beer. We're only gonna control that down to, I think, let's have 10. That way we don't suck down all of our resources here and take it away from the flour. So we'll manage that too. Okay. So yeah, that's gonna do it for me today. I hope you guys have enjoyed that so far, and we'll see you next time maybe. Bye bye.